welcome to today's episode of Uncovering Authenticity with me, Monique Bradley. I am looking at stories from real people, unfiltered, unmasked, who have got great stories that need to be shared. That's what this is all about. And today I have an amazing human in the studio. It is Clint Griffin from Refinery.
Amazing.
And I do that because in my head, what I'm manifesting is an arena-sized audience in front of us. And this is like a panel discussion. I'm having my Oprah moment, but I'm starting here. But in my head, there's a million people around us. Clint, how are you doing?
Fantastic. It's a Monday. The sun is shining.
Yep, so much to be grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
So jumping into this podcast, people probably don't know who you are. They barely know me, but I love them. I barely know myself. That's what this is all about, is uncovering my own self. Tell me about you. That's a big question. It's a big question.
What am I? I am a person that lives right in the moment at the moment. And I didn't before, and everything went to shit.
Yeah.
And when I discovered living in the moment is the way to be, everything changed, which meant it went to shit again.
As it does.
Which is good, because out of that came whatever this is in front of you. Different human being.
It's a beautiful thing, Clint. Yeah. So you've come from a pretty incredible background. You came to New Zealand, you've worked in marketing, you've been a lecturer. Tell me about your professional background.
Gosh, 30 years of this marketing shenanigans, right? Started as a graphic designer because I wanted to be a lawyer and a physicist.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So either a lawyer or physics. So design was obviously the next step, the thing that you do. And so I went and studied design. I went an advertising thing at school, but that kind of wasn't on my radar. Anyway, I went off to this, studied design, was in it for 10 years, and I don't really like it.
Why?
Because I'm not the purist that thinks design is the be-all and end-all, although there's kind of a dichotomy of things in there. I do believe that design is amazing and design has the power to change the world. Mm-hmm. I'm just more interested in the psychology of people at another level if I'm doing marketing. Mm-hmm. If I was a furniture designer or a product designer, it's very different. And I love that. You know, ideas around if you're going to design a chair, it needs to look like a chair. Otherwise, you don't know it's a chair. That's cool, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of thing I get into, and I'd love to do that, but that's not what I do. So I like the idea of what psychology means to people. It's not about the color orange or about the font, because no one really gives a shit about the font. They don't. Designers do, but no one else does. You know, no one buys Coca-Cola because of the script.
No.
It's just been there 120 years.
Yeah.
I want to know why people do things. And luckily there's a job attached to that, which is marketing and strategy, but that's not the thing. All I want to know is why. Why do people get up in the morning? Why do some people not? Why do they choose this? Why do they choose that? And if I put that under a lens of let's not be shit to people, I don't want to sell bad things to bad people. I did that for too long. You know, no one needs another plastic bucket. Well, maybe they do.
Well, you know, coming from TV shopping, I know they do.
Maybe they do, yeah. But I'm not going to sell them 10, you know.
No,
unless they really need 10.
Yeah.
Whatever. They might have a bucket garden. I don't know. But outside of that, you don't need like another piece of shit. So I try and get to the value of whatever people are selling, like the proposition around what they're doing or why they're doing it. And then we can kind of have conversations with people and say, yeah, I see why there's value in the world for that.
So where did this curiosity come from?
Always had it.
Since you were a child?
Yeah. I think I've always kind of felt like the underdog. I don't know why. You know, I always saw the person that wasn't treated fairly, the person that kind of wasn't the hero. And I used to look at the heroes, and I was never part of the main group, and I was never part of the dumb group or any of the groups. I just was the person that walked around and just chatted to everybody.
I understand that. Somebody called me years and years ago. They said, Monique, you're like an elusive butterfly. You kind of flutter across everything and kind of flit down onto things. Is flit a proper word? I don't know, but I'm using it.
Sounds good.
It feels right. You kind of jump in when you're needed and then you flutter and fly away. And I thought, yeah, that's I quite like that. I kind of like that because I can jump in, sprinkle some magic where I need to, and then go off and do something somewhere else.
That's very cool. So
is your curiosity what brought you to New Zealand?
Oh, New Zealand. Long story. So dad's from Petone. Great-great-grandmother, whichever one, add a number on that one, was one of the 1840 settlers.
Oh,
in
wow.
New Zealand. Yes. Glad about that, right? So the original colonizers, sorry, it wasn't me, but it was them.
Yep.
You know, so I'm not hanging on to that. But my dad met my mother in South Africa, and when I was 5, he said, we're leaving this country. They've only got black and white television. It's backward. This was 1980 because New Zealand was advanced. And so we came to New Zealand. I went to school here. My dad died. Went back to South Africa because my mom wasn't feeling well. She died. That was awesome. Day before my birthday. I mean, how annoying.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Well, you didn't kill her, so it's okay.
No, that's true. Yeah.
But
Thanks.
very annoying. And then I thought, okay, I'll hang out here. And I was in that graphic design school.
Yeah.
And then I got a job. And 30 years later, I thought maybe it's time to explore New Zealand again. I've got a 10-year-old. He's 11 now, but I had, at the time, actually I had an 8-year-old. And I looked at the patterns of my life and my dad's life. And I thought, my dad died when I was 10. How old was he? Oh, my God, I'm the same age. So if we extrapolate that for the next 3 years, I'm going to be 47 and my child's going to be 10 and I'm going to be dead.
Oh, wow.
Not awesome. So convinced my wife that we needed to pack up and make some kind of move just to see differences of the world. And we ended up here 3 years ago.
Wow. Wow. And I've spoken to a lot of people from South Africa and I've heard a lot of stories. Lots. And I've heard a lot of traumatic stories. Yeah. Are those stories that I hear compared to the quality of life we have here in New Zealand, are those stories real?
It depends on, yes, they are, right? What I've learned is don't tell them to people because they really freak people out, right? It's such a different world that it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I was chatting to my mother-in-law probably a year ago now, and she was really angry because someone had shot at their property. And I thought that, okay, that's quite hectic. That's traumatic. She was angry because the glass was broken and they needed to replace the security glass, not that someone had shot at her house.
Wow.
And
so she's almost desensitized.
Exactly. And I didn't realize I was until I'd left. So, 2 years later, I went, that's insane. What do you mean you cross about the glass? You're alive, So there is a lot of violence, but there's also an amazing joy in that country. It's so incredible, You've got 20% of people might want to kill you, but the 80% that don't really want to be your friend. I've never experienced friendliness like that.
Wow.
Stand in a queue and the next minute everybody's your mate,
Wow.
Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah.
You mentioned about, we're talking obviously about stories and I'm hearing that, so a lot of people have shared these stories with me, I think, but it gives a shock factor. It shows a contrast to the life that we live here in New Zealand. Mm-hmm. As a storyteller myself and a storytelling coach and all that sort of stuff, public speaking coach, I think those stories are important when they're quantified with a point. And there's a reason why I'm saying this is that we can, marketing, coming back to the work you do, marketing is storytelling, right?
Yeah,
it's the same, exactly the same thing. Mm-hmm. And I see a lot of marketing going out there, but it misses the mark because there's no point. It's just a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Coming back to you as a storyteller in that space and coming back to you as somebody who's really you're starting to want to disrupt the way that people think about marketing and approach it. How do you take real stories of these brands and businesses that you're working with? How do you stop it from being clutter?
Tell people to stop what they're doing first up, right? There's always an urgency. There's always a need. I need to do stuff. I need to tell people.
Then because I need sales, let's be honest.
You need sales, right? So if you have to sell something, then I question again the value of what you're selling. Does it really need to be sold? Maybe that's not the problem. I get that you need to have awareness and people need to know you exist and the great things you do, but you don't need to sell it. I find sales is the wrong word. You need a sales team to do the bits and pieces, but to have an angle on what you do seems to be disingenuous. And again, it comes back to that bucket, this bucket's better than yours. You need that one. You need this one. You're an improved. I go back to your
hello TV shopping.
Yeah,
I tell you, I loved it. I loved it.
But it comes back to stop what you're doing. Why do you believe in the thing that you're selling? And sometimes I say, I don't believe in this product. So I think the essence is right, but what you're doing about it, the way you're going about it is wrong. That comes back to not being a designer again because I want to know those questions. And then say, okay, what's the story behind that? Why did you go down this road, right? What value are you getting out of it? And what do you see in people? What makes you smile in the morning? Because a lot of people, even people that buy a business, they buy it because, I had some money and I bought this thing. But somewhere along the line in that journey, they find that thing that, that's why I bought it. Because that person that changed that thing in their lives, or this allowed me to employ these people and the business is going well and customers are happy, but these people are happy because now they've got a job. And there's a whole disco around that.
So is the most important thing then in marketing he tangata, he tangata, he tangata? We use it for everything else. The people.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's bullshit. So true.
I love how straight up you are about this. So Clint, then, from your perspective and from your worldview and from this present moment, what would be the biggest thing? And I'm not just talking marketing, but well, I guess I am. I'm talking marketing stories, getting yourself out there, whether you're a personal brand, whether you're a business brand, whether it's a product brand, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest secret to success? Keeping in mind, you're a big deal. You've been a lecturer in this stuff, just to hype you up a little bit.
Lecturers know everything.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the most terrifying thing in the world to be a lecturer, right?
Yeah.
The secret to success, that's the hardest thing in the world because you have to have an inkling, because you're not going to have all of it. You have to have an inkling of belief in what you do, which means you need to have an inkling of belief in who you are. Because without that, you can fake it, but you're not really ever going to make it, right? People that make lots of money and are still faking it, they're still going to hang themselves. They still do weird things. That's not success, right? Success is whatever you term it to be. And it might be money, but there's a happiness that comes into that. Or it might be family, or it might be whatever. But unless you're being honest and being authentic, it doesn't work. You know?
I love that. I love that because it's what I stand for, showing up as your best and brightest self. So, Clint, finally, where can people find you? What's your web address?
My web address is refinery23.nz. 23 purely because it couldn't be refinery.nz because someone stole that already. How dare they?
I think isn't that a non-alcoholic booze brand?
I don't know. I don't know.
But if it is, and anybody from that brand is listening, hit me up for sponsorship. Really happy to work with you there. Just saying. Yep. Refinery 23. What does 23 stand for?
23 was probably my favorite year when I was 23. That cusp of getting a job, having more money than anything, because when you don't have any responsibilities, you're a billionaire, right? It's amazing.
I remember being 23 as well. So, and see, that's another way that stories work. They connect you through that associative memory, right?
2 functioning kidneys, a liver that worked, all that stuff.
Faster metabolism.
Yeah, not going to bed, going up, doing the advertising life that I really enjoyed. Yeah. So it was good fun, That's why, because life should be fun. That's why it's refinery23.nz.
To remind you to have fun with your marketing and your media and stuff.
And yourself. Don't take life too seriously.
I love that. Well, Clint, it's been an absolute joy having you in here for the podcast. Thank you so much. I am Monique Bradley. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've taken away some little nuggets that have come through today's chat. And as always, stay fabulous. Share your magic with the world because the world needs your magic right now. Ka kite anō.